Practicing is the only key mantra with right kind of a mentorship to score the right kind of a band.
What are the changes between computer exam and pen paper based exam? What would be more preferred?
Both have their pluses and minuses, but if you ask me in person, I will suggest the candidate should go for IOC rather than going for a paper-based test.
What are the latest update in computer based exam that can be beneficial to student today?
Coming few months or maybe 6 months down the line, it will be that the candidate has an option of giving their paper-based in the computer-delivered center also. It's going to be a blended one.
Students do have a very diligent approach towards IELTS and most of them want to have 8777 bands. What would be your suggestion for that aspirants?
You need to understand exactly what the examiner or what the system is expecting out of you. And the most critical thing that he has to understand is how to manage time.
Hello everyone, today we are here to have a special podcast on IELTS latest updates on 2026. We have Head of Operationals West India, Rupinder sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for calling.
The session is going to conduct on IELTS changes and strategies that are necessary for students for their global successes and of course the strategies that they can apply for grade bands. So we'll like to know your introduction, sir.
I'm Rupinder, the Head of IELTS Operation for West India.
And our session is going to be about changes that can help students to build their success. First question would be, what are the changes between computer exam and pen paper based exam? What would be more preferred?
Both have their pluses and minuses, but if you ask me in person, I will suggest the candidate should go for IOC, that is IELTS on computer, rather than going for a paper-based test, but then the choice resides with the candidate. Okay, what are the differences? I'll tell you one thing. Paper-based from July onwards is just going to be twice in a month. Where CD IELTS every day, the candidate has the option to sit for the first sitting or he can go for a second sitting. And the result basically is going to be declared for paper-based in 7 days. For CD IELTS, it is within 24 hours or max 48 hours. Apart from this thing, the candidate, when he sits for his paper-based examination, he has to report at 11 a.m. The test starts at 1. Wherein, if he goes for IOC, then in that case, the candidate reports 30 to 40 minutes before the commencement of the test. In paper-based, the speaking can happen 7 days before the examination or 7 days after the examination. Current trend is it is happening before the examination. But in a computer-delivered test, that speaking happens on the day itself, as in when you go for your LRW. So there are many pluses and minuses when it comes to your paper-based and CD IELTS. So if option is being given to me, I'll always go for IOC.
Most of the students says that when it is about academic pen paper test, they cannot have the chance of retake, whereas computer-based exam is...
Absolutely correct, ma'am. That is a feature which is been given to a candidate who sits for IOC.
What are the latest update in computer-based exam that can be beneficial to student today?
See, the latest update is that gradually you may be hearing about in the market itself. Currently, it is not been introduced in the market when you talk about the Indian market, but maybe in coming few months or maybe 6 months down the line, it will be that the candidate has the option of giving their paper-based in the computer-delivered center also. It's going to be a blended one, wherein the candidate will be giving his speaking the way he is giving it. Listening and reading is going to be on computer and the writing is going to be on paper.
Most of the student finds that when it is a computer-based exam, speaking would be conducted by itself on system. AI-based technology would be used. So what would you like to add into this?
You're asking whether it's going to be introduced in IELTS?
Yeah.
No, currently, as my understanding, no, it is not going to be there. It's going to be again, there is going to be examiner who's going to be conducting the examination.
So 100% when it comes to IELTS, examiners are conducting speaking test. One-to-one session, face-to-face communication is there, which is the plus point.
Yes.
While most of the students select AI IELTS exam, so that there is a person who is taking their speaking.
See, you simply understand when there is going to be a human, okay? So human basically adapts to the
Power
candidate.
of convincing of student.
Just allow me.
Yeah.
So what happens is if a candidate basically is interacting with the examiner, the examiner do understand exactly where he stands, they try indirectly to make him comfortable to bring out the best out of him. So any day, basically, wherever there's a human intervention, the candidate will tend to score better.
True.
So that is the USP of IELTS examination.
Students do have a very diligent approach towards IELTS, and most of them want to have 8777 bands. What would be your suggestion for that aspirants?
See, to be very honest, if you're looking for 8777, then you need to put extra effort. And otherwise, the strategy that I do have is you need to understand exactly what the examiner or what the system is expecting out of you. Let's talk about, let's say, your writing task. Okay, there are two tasks, task 1 and task 2. In task 2, if suppose the candidate has been asked that if by any means he forgets to write the conclusion, in task response, he will not be in a position to get more than 5 bands.
True.
Okay. Now, let's say there is a candidate. If the question is that you have to explain A, B, and C, if he writes only A and B, he doesn't touch C, then again he cannot get more than 5 bands.
Scores won't be there.
He will not be in a position to get more than 5 bands. But however, if he addresses all the parts, that is A, B, and C, the probability of getting 7 is more. So he has to understand what is the format of the examination and deliver accordingly. And if he is going to be being mentored and he gets the right kind of mentorship, he can easily score 8777.
So the necessity is there when it comes to writing task. He has to understand band descriptor.
Even for your speaking, even for your listening and reading, he has to understand exactly how many questions I should attempt to get a right kind of a band.
A better understanding of student
Yes.
is necessary to
Yes.
fulfill the requirement
Yes.
of that question.
And the most critical thing that he has to understand is how to manage time.
Exactly. The time is something when it comes to reading. Most of the students say that reading bands is something they have to retake the exam.
Okay. Now, when you talk about reading itself, okay, every institute has their own pedagogy, their own teaching methodologies.
True.
But let's say that a candidate, generally what we have seen is that candidate, when they say that true, false and not given, okay. Now, they first have to understand that true, false and not given are meant for a candidate who is actually of a 6 or a 7 bander. Okay, how we are going to be segregating a candidate from 5 band to a 7 bander, a 7 bander to 8 bander, depending upon the questions.
True.
Okay, so he has to also understand that this question basically is pertaining to language. It is not pertaining to general knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's talk about your reading section itself. Now, for example, let's say if there are 3 passages, they are approximately 2500 to 2750 words.
Yeah.
Okay, now if you can read 100 words a minute, it will take you 27 minutes to run.
Just to read.
Just to read it. I'm
Yeah.
not saying to attempt it.
Exactly.
But now if you understand what is the difference between skim, scan and detailed reading, which tool to be used for which kind of a question,
Yeah. Which sort of passage?
then in that case, your speed increases from 100 words to 300. Now it will take you not more than 9 minutes to complete the entire reading of the passage. So you have to apply the tools to get the right kind of a band.
Yeah, so it depends on different strategies of questions and to understand different passages accordingly.
Yes.
So practicing
Practicing is the only key mantra
for reading.
with right kind of a mentorship to score the right kind of a band.
Yeah, so mentorship is necessary, knowledge and knowing the passage earlier would be helpful. But see, it is not about GK, as sir told. It is not about your prediction for the question earlier. Yeah.
It is how you apply your knowledge, application of the knowledge.
True. So, sir, when they know about writing descriptors, speaking descriptors, how can student come over their nervousness? How can they become more confident?
See, if they understand the nuance of the IELTS based on the band descriptor, then I'm telling you one thing, they cannot be nervous at all. Okay. But still understand one thing, being nervous is a healthy sign. Anyone basically, when they go for their examination, there are little bit of nervousness. But you have to ensure that basically it does not impact your performance. So as and when you go, generally what happens, what we have observed is, when you go for your listening, let's say, just to make things simpler, I'll give you an example. When you go for a speaking test, as and when the speaking is going on, the candidate start to evaluate himself that currently I'm at 5 band or a 6 band. Okay. First of all, he has to understand that he is gone there to perform. He is not the right person. Let the job be done by the examiner, and the examiner will give him the right kind of a band. So you don't have to assess as and when you're being examined. Okay. Second, the most critical thing is when you talk about your reading section. It may be a possibility that you are not in a position to get 1 right answer or a 2 right answer or 3 right answer. Don't lose hope. It may be a possibility there are 40 odd questions. It may be a possibility that 3 you were not in a position to attempt correctly, but there are another 37 which you are going to be attempting correctly. So maintain your calm and composure. Third is that as and when you go for an examination, it's not a battle. It's an exam. So let's say if suppose you are not in a position to find the right answer for one particular question, move on, because time is very critical. So this will help you to overcome your anxiety and nervousness. That is the only strategy that I have. Rest, I will always recommend and suggest to candidates, they should be mentored, because as and when they go to mentorship, there what are the gaps and where they have to improve are being shared and monitored, which basically help them to get a better band.
True. So, sir, there are some exams in the market which are considering on templates. Do IELTS students can score better if they memorize the answer or if they use templates?
I will not comment whether there are some examination basically who work on templates, but I can confidently say template doesn't work in IELTS examination, and his reason is very clear. Let's again to cite an example. The candidate basically is giving his speaking test, okay, and suddenly there is a question which has been asked which he has practiced on. The moment he starts to speak, first of all, under his excitement, he has done a very selective hearing. He has not understood exactly what the examiner has asked. He is just speaking what he has memorized, so that doesn't work for him. Third, here basically what happened is his excitement has been shown in the way he is performing.
Yeah.
And let's say it's a cue card. The next question basically when it has been put to him, when it is a follow-up question, there basically he underperforms.
His fluctuation of voice can be recognized.
Voice modulation is very critical. It's, if you ask me in speaking, if you ask me, the voice modulation definitely plays a very critical role. The excitement does show. So the examiner comes to know that he has wrote this thing, answer that he is giving.
Something he has prepared and something when it is.
And it's not correctly been delivered.
In overseas, why a student should select IELTS?
See, why is that? First of all, it's a gold standard examination. Okay. It has been accepted by more than 12,500 institute, college, and many embassies, and it is accepted by embassies also. It has been accepted by governing bodies also. So it's a gold standard examination. And the most important thing is, as and when you're preparing for this examination, you're improving on your linguistic skills. Okay.
Yeah.
The candidate has to understand the moment he lands into any country where English is the first language becomes a life skill. It's no more a tool. It's a life skill. So I believe that if a candidate is, migrating to any of the English speaking country, he has to acquire English as a language. And since IELTS is a gold standard, he should set for that.
So does this IELTS can improve or can increase his career opportunities in overseas?
Definitely it can improve his career, because, okay, I may be having hard skill, but then as and when I'm going to be facing an interview, I have to express myself. I should be in a position to sell myself. That is only possible when I'm very confident with the language. So definitely it helps in your career growth also. I can cite an example also. Let's say there was a lot of rumor in the market itself that in Canada there are no jobs.
True.
Okay. Now, to just give you an example, let's say I asked a candidate, let's say there are 20 vacancies and for a particular job, and there are 400 applicants. 20 made it, 380 could not make it. That doesn't mean that there was no job. there was a job, you didn't have the right skills.
True. So that 20 was selected
So
first.
that's, I know. Yeah.
Very true. Many diligent students work hard, but still they struggle in one module. So what can be the reason that they achieve small margin or they lose one module in a way?
See, they are, the first is that as and when they have given the examination, they should approach their mentor, or if suppose they are doing it on their own, then in that case, they should go through the band script itself. They should evaluate where they have not performed. Okay.
Okay.
And then they should work on it. This will help them. Okay. The second option that a candidate does have, let's say that he has not scored in any of one module and he has sat for IOC, that is IELTS on Computer. Then he has an option of, going for a one skill retake module.
So do you think that agile approach is important for working professionals or students who are having a busy lifestyle?
First of all, we have to understand that if I'm very passionate about something, I have to have a dedicated time for the same itself. And then I have to have a cutout date wherein I should sit for the examination or wherein I should complete my task. Okay. So the kind of flexibility that working professional need, it doesn't work. Okay. I personally feel if let's say that they cannot strike out an hour or so a day, then in that case at least they can take 15 or 20 minutes. So generally what we believe or not believe, what is a fact actually is that a candidate requires 120 hours of practice to improve upon one band.
Sure.
So let's say if suppose he's taking out 15 minutes a day, okay, that means it is going to be 480 hours that he has to put in, or let's say 120 instead of 120 days. My bad. Instead of 120 days, he is supposed to be 480 days to get the right kind of a band. So micro learning is something that they can look into.
Is there any fixed time period that much of time is sufficient for student to score good?
It's not about the time; it's a quality of time.
True.
Okay, now if suppose the candidate can do it in, generally it has been scientifically been proven it takes 120 hours to improve one band, but a brighter student can do it in 60 days. Somebody can do it in 15 days. Somebody may take more than 120 hours. It is person to person.
What can be the 3 golden rules that you would suggest to our students?
Okay, first of all, the first rule is that before I want to take a test date, mentally I have to say that this is the date I am going to be sitting for the examination. Okay. The most second important thing is the candidate has to understand the format of the examination. Okay. The third is they should take a mentorship. It is very critical. So because mentor will tell them exactly what are the areas that they need to work so they can score the right kind of a band.
So for students, it is very necessary to understand 3 things, that they have to understand about the concept of the complete 4 modules. They have to practice and they have to get mentorship so they get correct guidance for it.
Yes.
And so I would like to know about why or does IELTS makes any changes that makes them everyone inclusive into it.
See, IELTS is always an inclusive examination. Okay. Now, let's say that there is a candidate whose needs are different. Now, he has some, stammering issue. So, if he submits his stammering certificate to us, the examiner does take that thing into consideration. If suppose there is a candidate who's actually differently abled. Okay, let's say there is a candidate who is partially blind and he cannot read the font or he needs a braille paper. We do make arrangement for the same. So it's a very inclusive examination. Even to that extent, we have a different format. If a candidate is comfortable in paper-based test, we have a paper-based test. If a candidate is comfortable in computer-delivered test, we have a computer-delivered test. If a candidate basically wants to migrate, we have a general training test. If the candidate is going on a spouse visa, we have life skill tests. So we have
Very
all options for
well-defined
every. We have option for every candidate.
Right. So every student who is having some difficulties can be acceptable and can get the better options and opportunities that their dreams do not stop anywhere.
That is their right.
So that is provided by IELTS everywhere.
Yes, that is their right.
What are the biggest myth of IELTS?
Okay, the biggest myth of IELTS is people believe that is a tough test, though it is not. We are assessing you for your linguistic skills, your proficiency in English. So it's a myth. Anybody can score 9 bad. The only thing is that they have to understand what is the format of the examination and prepare accordingly.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We really had a great session today. Hope our learners have enjoyed this session and they will learn so many strategies. Thank you for your valuable insights and guidance.
Thank you, ma'am, for calling us. Thank you.